Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode, episode number 32 today for the Belgian Grand Prix in Season 2. Of course, in Season 1, this was perhaps maybe the place of our best race of the season in terms of action and entertainment factor with the fighting I was having with my then teammate Carlos Sainz, and also the man that I've technically taken the direct seat from here at Renault, Jolyon Palmer as well. So very much looking forward to coming back to this track for Season 2 and seeing what we can do in probably an improved Renault compared to that Toro Rosso from last season. As per usual, putting in the older engine parts ahead of practice. If you did miss the last episode, by the way, episode 31, uploaded yesterday at the Hungarian Grand Prix, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. And check in the comments from the last episode. Yeah, I definitely maybe didn't see any of the rain that was coming in the Hungarian Grand Prix. I only spotted it after a lot of you guys pointed it out. So that was a bit of a weird one. But I genuinely did not even realize it was raining one bit, just because there weren't any kind of rain splodges on the screen. But I did not clock there any rain droplets on my chassis of the car. So very odd one there from the last race. So be sure to go check that one out if you have missed it, uploaded yesterday. But we're going through the practice programs as per usual. And as I mentioned at the end of last episode, hopefully this weekend is the weekend we can get enough points to finally purchase that major powertrain upgrade at the very top. Of course, if you have missed it and you've not been caught up, we've been doing that kind of shortcut by doing the 3 durability upgrades. And you can clearly see now on screen, Finally, it's taken us, what, like 5-6 episodes now to actually build the points, build the shortcut up. We finally actually bought it now. That will take 4 rounds to do, because that is a major upgrade to the powertrain. That will see us go to pretty much best of the rest, barring the Mercedes-powered cars and the Ferrari. So we'll be ahead of Red Bull once again, and Toro Rosso, like we kind of were with the Toro Rosso in Season 1. And now you can see on screen, just going through and having a look at the chassis part of the tree, I feel like that's the next part of the tree where we're going to be developing the car. Aerodynamics-wise, we're actually still very good. I think we're still 4th in the actual pecking order for aerodynamics with this car, just ahead of, I think, Toro Rosso and Williams. But in terms of chassis, we have dropped down a little bit. You would have seen on the right-hand side, we have dropped considerably in the chassis department. So we'll be looking at that as my next focus. Although, in reality, the chassis, a lot of the upgrades for the chassis, if we're not doing the tyre wear, it's going to be a lot of just weight reduction, which will, again, help the powertrain, basically. It'll make our car faster and straight line, and the entire car is just lighter as well. Obviously, we'll help through the corners, but yeah, that's the irony there, that even when we do the chassis upgrades, it's going to help our straight line speed. So that's a lot of the focus on the car, obviously, at the moment. Aerodynamics, we're still surprisingly very good, as I said. So we're going to go ahead into Q1, and you can see overcast conditions at the moment, but despite that, on the ultra softs, hopefully not going to be too much of an issue, and definitely wasn't an issue as we go through and finish up our one and only flying lap there, and we are through to Q2 as well as Nico Hülkenberg. At this point, I think unless it's raining, it's kind of a given we'll make it into Q2. And just like in real life, coming to this race, I thought the Renault would hopefully perform well. In real life, obviously, Hülkenberg did a fantastic job at the Belgian Grand Prix. So coming across the line for our one and only flying lap in Q2, it's a pretty decent time and enough just about to get us into Q3. It's actually closer than I would have liked it to, and Hülkenberg did not make it into the final top 10. You can see the gap also between myself and him, very close, with Perez sandwiched in between. So unlucky, actually. If he maybe just gained a tiny bit of time in maybe 1 or 2 corners, really, he could have made it into the top 10 shootout. So unlike his real life performance, unable to get into that top 10. And so the best we can hope for is basically trying to get ahead of the Force Indias and try and challenge Massa and, you know, I don't know, maybe the Red Bull cars, but I think they'll have a bit too much downforce for us in the corners there. But starting our Q3 lap time, obviously because the lap is so long, unfortunately, even though I've started pretty early in this session, I haven't left it till way late in the session, I'm still probably only going to get one proper flying lap here. Going through now, cutting later on through Podium, smashing the car through on the left hand, basically going nearly flat out in 7th gear with a little tiny lift off just at the beginning, and then going through the S section. Car feeling pretty damn decent through here, but obviously we're not going to match the lap time that Bottas just put there to get on provisional pole position. That's going to be an interesting fight as well. I mean, I haven't really mentioned it ever in most of the recent videos here in career mode, but there definitely is actually quite a good scrap going on with the AI cars between Raikkonen, Bottas, Hamilton. As of late, Hamilton's been resurging a little bit. Obviously, he's gotten very unlucky, and a few of you guys have actually commented that Raikkonen appears to be just a bit too strong at the moment in this career mode, and a lot of people's career modes. But there is a title fight going on between those 3 cars. Unfortunately for Vettel's AI car, he's had a lot of bad luck there, so I think he's some way down the order. You can see anyway, going on to back to our performance, you can see in P8, ahead of the 2 Force Indias, unfortunately not able to actually manage to get Felipe Massa. Obviously, he's our rival, so going to lose out to the rivalry in that sense. But at least we're ahead of the 2 Force Indies. Obviously, I would have expected them to actually go a little bit better with the Mercedes car in the Mercedes engine in the back back of that car. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how we go. It was a fantastic race, as I said, in Season 1, so here's hoping we can have another good one. We'll have to start on the Ultra Softs, though, this time, whereas in Season 1, we started at the back with engine penalties, so it's going to be a bit of a different race maybe to last season, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be a good one. It usually is on this game, so let's get into it.
Simply put it, there really is no place quite like Spa. As the drivers complete their preparations down below us on the grid, one man who's no stranger to the pre-race pressure is Anthony Davidson, who joins me in the commentary box today. Great to have you with us, Ant. I'm sure you can tell us all about what goes through a driver's head before lights out.
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle. And the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Massa, Renault, Perez, Ocon, and Nico Hülkenberg, Verstappen, Stroll, Daniel Kvyat, and Sainz, Grosjean, Magnussen, Fernando Alonso, and Stoffel van Dorn, Wehrlein, and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, so we start on the ultra soft tyres here. We're actually in P7 because Max Verstappen had an engine penalty or some sort of penalty. I'm not too sure what it was for, but he moves down the order. So we move up one place, which is kind of cool. So we start right behind Daniel Ricciardo then. So we've already got one Red Bull behind us. So we just need to maybe try and get that second one, obviously, as we continue to try our best to fight the Red Bull cars. But you can see it's going to be a two-stop with us starting on ultra soft with two super soft sets. Very aggressive strategy. I think the undercut's going to be the way to go with, I remember from Season 1, the AI like to pit very early indeed, so we may try and mimic them. But either way, we fuel up the car, going to use plenty of rich mix in the race, and let's just see if we can have another cracker like we had last season as we go to 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix. Round number 12 of this season is underway here, and it's a bit of a mediocre start for us as Massa gets a good one to go around the outside of Daniel Ricciardo. We try to maybe have a little bit of a look into turn 1, not going to work out, and in the end I actually compromised my own line. As you can see, Sergio Perez now around the outside on the left-hand side, using that Mercedes engine to good use, flexing the muscles there as we go towards Rouge's. Massa and Ricciardo side by side, and also maybe the two Ferrari cars, as I think it's a battle between the two Mercedes as well, so all kind of 2 by 2 for the top 4 there, with Hamilton still leading the way. Then you can see Bottas close behind, and you can see Massa is going to pull across, and maybe Perez as well to overtake the Red Bull car. The Red Bull very slow in a straight line here, and Massa is through. Can Perez maybe feed this through? He goes side by side with Daniel Ricciardo into sector 2. I'm just sitting back here. I would have liked to maybe got caught up in that fight, but the track is just way too narrow there. As you can see, Bottas sends it down the inside of Hamilton, so the two Mercedes cars going for a bit of a ding-dong battle there for the lead of the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Perez still trying his hardest to chuck it around the outside. There's been a bit of contact there. Ricciardo getting the elbows out, and Perez has to settle down for P7, and so far we have to settle down for P8 as I got overtaken and just didn't have any opportunity to overtake him so far in this lap, and now I find myself in a Force India sandwich there as Ocon is right behind me. But as we swiftly move on now to lap 2 down the Kemmel straight, we're going to gain some time here, revving out 8th gear as we get the slipstream. Perez going to go for another attempt to overtake Ricciardo. This time though, we may try and get in the fight this time as yellow flags. So there's a car. Oh my god, Massa's been spun out. Massa in the wall. Yellow flags here, so no overtaking for us. Is there going to be any sort of safety car? Because that is a bit of an awkward situation and place for a car to be parked. Doesn't look like it, but Massa into the wall there. Looks like he was spun out by the Ferrari car as I saw a blur of red going very slowly up ahead of us. But again, unable to overtake Perez and try anything. But let's take a look at replay, and it was indeed a Ferrari. It's Sebastian Vettel. So as I even mentioned, once again Vettel getting unlucky in this race, in this career mode. And okay, Massa, very unfortunate. It looks like he got just caught up. The tyres got interlocked there, and he just got spun round pretty damn simply. So very unfortunate, but great for us obviously, because that's one free position. So we're up into P7, and if we can overtake Perez here, then this will be P6 then as we go to the left hand side, open the DRS. A little bit of a wobble there as I pull out of his slipstream, but very, very close stuff as he's pushing pushing me a little bit towards the grass, but we're on the outside. It will turn to the inside for the next corner, though, so we should have this. We've broke as late as we could, and we are up into P6. A little shimmy and shake through the left and the right, and so now we can maybe focus on Daniel Ricciardo with that clean air ahead of us, although as we move later on into that same lap, lap 3, you can see on the mini-map there, a few cars into the pits, so we are going to gain some positions here, and we're going to get up into P5, P4 it will be. So, as I mentioned, some very early stops for some AI cars, and so we are going to consider coming in maybe on the very next lap and going really aggressive, because we are committed basically to the 2-stop, having to start on the ultra soft tyres, so we may as well go as aggressive as the AI are going to. And so on the next lap, lap 4 indeed, we do basically just follow in Daniel Ricciardo, and we are going to be in this lap. So onto that first set of super soft tyres, and we'll hopefully try and match them. Obviously, it's not going to be a case of us fighting the Ferraris or the Mercedes, but Ricciardo, I mean, he didn't pull out too much away from us on that one lap there. Obviously, some worn tyre wear will come into play, but so far, it's looking positive that we can actually maybe keep up with the Red Bull cars, as well as the Force Indies maybe still being in that fight. And actually, you can see there's been a big issue for the Ferrari team, as Kimi Raikkonen, I think that is, is behind us now. So for some reason, Ferrari have had a woeful stop. Maybe Raikkonen had to change his front wing or something like that, but he's come out behind us now. We actually jumped him in the pit stop, so good work from the Renault boys then. Unfortunately, though, you can see Perez did jump us, actually. Perez pits on lap 3, and that just shows how good the undercut worked, because he's jumped us, and he's quite a bit way down this straight now. So we're going to have to re-overtake the Mexican as he actually goes for a move on Fernando Alonso, who is on the soft tyres, obviously start on that set. So we've got a few slower cars with probably the likes of the Saubers also up ahead that we have to try and overtake, and as they'll be going a lot longer in this race now, just like we tried in Season 1. But great stuff to actually overtake the Ferrari car then, so positive stuff already, positive stuff. But we're trying to overtake Alonso straight away. You can see a very awkward position. We go try and feed it down the inside. Alonso just about gives us enough room, and unfortunately, as I overtake him, that actually gave Raikkonen the free move as well. I was kind of hoping to use Alonso as a bit of a doorstop there between myself and Kimi, but that just didn't work out. You can see up ahead, bit of a string of cars as Perez and myself close up to one of the Sauber cars, either Ericsson or Verline there, and just up the road you can see is the Red Bull chasing after the other McLaren, Stoffel Van Dorn. So maybe a bit of traffic may help us out here. And on the run up to Rouge, that may start now. You can see Perez tried to make a move on the Sauber, it slowed him down, and up the hill we actually go side by side right on the crest of the hill onto the Kemmel straight. Absolutely awesome move there on Perez. I said the slower cars may help us, and Perez definitely did try to go for a move, then kind of second guessed himself, slowed himself down mid-corner up the hill there, and so just as we went over the crest, we made that move. Really, really sweet. And already so far, I think this race is definitely maybe started the match what Season 1 has been, although we haven't had a major fight with our teammates so far. I haven't seen too much of Hulkenberg, unfortunately. Looks like he's struggling this afternoon, but then we move later into that lap. Pretty damn easy move on Stoffel Van Dorn. Obviously, the Honda engine, the McLaren guys just haven't really improved too much, really, since the very start of this career mode from part 1, really. That McLaren and Sauber have been woeful, really. Haven't really seen too much development from them. Now we close up to Daniel Ricciardo, who is also subsequently closing up to one of the Mercedes cars. Looks like, I think it's Valtteri Bottas, and he's going a little bit slow here, to be honest, and Ricciardo's got DRS on the Mercedes car, so I'm sniffing a little bit of blood here as we close right up to Ricciardo through turn 1 as he gets kind of put off by the Mercedes. So maybe down this straight, with the amount of slipstream we can get up this straight, and rich mix, we could end up making a move here. So here we go. Ricciardo does get slowed down quite a lot by the Mercedes car of Bottas it is. So we move to the left, open DRS. We're going to have to try and maybe force a little bit of space through here. We go 3 wide momentarily as we overtake Ricciardo. We're on the super softs, remember, compared to these guys being on soft tyres, it looks like, so they're going very conservative. But we go down the inside of Bottas there to make a double overtake on a Mercedes and a Red Bull car. Ricciardo then overtakes Bottas on the top left, you can see, and so that confirms to me that maybe Bottas has an issue, because we swing on this panning shot down the main straight, down the back straight I should say. Ricciardo is going to try and overtake us, but you can see behind us it's not Bottas there, it's Sergio Perez. So I think Bottas has got a major issue and is falling way back in this Grand Prix. So great for us, obviously. So that's a second car, including Massa, who's going to help us out gain 1 position as we go side by side now with the Honey Badger, trying to fight him. We tried the switchback move, don't get enough traction to make it work. So for now, the Red Bull stays ahead of us here as he got us down that back straight. So can we just try and maybe feed it to the inside? We have a little bit of a look. You can see we tried a little bit of a lunge, didn't work out, so we backed out, and we're going to have to try and maybe make a move on the run up to Rouge, or potentially just up the hill, down the Kemmel straight with Perez close behind. So I need to get this done to try and have a bit of a blockade between us two. We get a very very close to his back end there. But here we go. To the left, open DRS. We've got Rich Mix also to potentially use right in this straight, although we may save it because I think we've got the overspeed, and Perez does as well, as Perez is going to make a move, and Ricciardo may lose 2 positions in the span of one straight as we go side by side. Perez actually makes a great move down the inside, and he's got us. He's blocked us on the exit of the next corner, and he's got us. So Perez with a brilliant 2-man overtake there. And so we overtook one car, but now we've basically effectively kept in the same position. But I'll say one positive from this is clearly myself and Perez have the pace to challenge Ricciardo here. So that's going to work out in our favour in terms of trying to challenge the Red Bull cars and try and get a net points gain on them, as we haven't seen too much of Verstappen so far. So even though Hulkenberg's nowhere to be seen, it's going to be good stuff for us if we can continue this pace. But we've got yellow flags up ahead as Perez tried to make a move, and it's a car on the left-hand side. I think it's a Haas car of Romain Grosjean there, parked it up on the sleeping policeman. So as Perez tried to make a move on Ericsson Sauber, not going to work out, and there's actually DRS disabled. So is that going to be a safety car, full safety car then? As well, to be fair, yeah, Grosjean was parked up in a very dangerous area, very easy for another car to come and slam into him there. So the safety car has been called out, so all things calm down for a little bit. We stick it into lean mixture, and this is very interesting actually, because this may change how we work this race out. With 9 laps gone, we come into the pits now because we may as well. It's effectively a free pit stop, of course, and we're going to change our strategy round. We were initially, remember, going to a second set of super softs. I'm now going to fit on a set of soft tyres and go to the end of this race, because at the moment this pit stop is a little bit too early to strap on that second set of super softs, but we can strap on a set of softs and comfortably hopefully make it to the end of this race. And what this will do is, of course, we're going to be on a slower tyre than we originally planned, but now this will mean surely by the time everyone makes their second pit stop of the afternoon, we'll have the track position, because obviously we're all going to bunch up right now under the safety car. So that's why it's called the free pit stop. So we're on P16 at the moment, but don't fret, we're going to gain all the positions once everyone makes their pit stop. So we're going to play a little bit cleverly on the strategy that way and hopefully gain quite a bit. I don't know, it remains to be seen how many positions we'll gain, but anyway, we're going to look at a replay now of Grosjean there, and just like Massa, he was spun round by a front left tyre connection to the rear right of that Toro Rosso then, but then for Grosjean, he for some reason reverses it here and then I think parks it up, and this is why we have the safety car, because he's parked up in a more dangerous area. He actually reverses into a more dangerous, oh my, what the, whoa, okay, that's what Grosjean, why? I was about to say he's actually accelerated into a more dangerous position, and then the Red Bull comes and RKOs him out of nowhere with the right-hand side tyre completely coming off there. So that's why the safety car was called out. So good call by the FIA, to be fair. And so now as we go on to the restart of the safety car, we're up into lap 15 already as we caught Alonso napping on the restart. We dive it down the inside with a major lunge on the Sauber Pasco Wehrlein, and we're up into P14 now. We're going to hopefully close up on Van Dorn, and oh my, look at how easy this is. So simple. Up towards Rouge, and we're up into P13. Very simple overtake on Van Dorn, and now we look ahead to what is going to be Esteban Ocon. So straight away, as I mentioned, you know, with the free pit stop we've got, we're already looking at some cars that we were technically fighting, you know, the Force Indias. We're now already closing up, and remember, we're not making a pit stop in this race now, whereas all these guys will have to. And actually, Ocon makes a move on Bottas around the outside, and Bottas still struggling then. So Bottas definitely does have issues. So it wasn't just maybe a factor of him going slowly with his AI car. His car itself has some issues if Ocon's overtaken him, and we're going to re-overtake him once again for the second time in this race. So unfortunate for the Finn, who's been doing pretty well to try and chase down. I believe Bottas so far in the championship is in second, trying to chase down Kimi Raikkonen, with Hamilton in third. So that's going to be a bit of a blow to Bottas's championship contention, this race at least. So now we move on to the end of lap 13. You can see a bit of a train forming with Ocon behind Ricciardo, behind Marcus Ericsson. So we dive down the inside of both those cars as Ericsson is a bit of a traffic jam for them, and we try to feed around the outside of the Australian. Doesn't work out. You can see we have to go to the curbing to give Ricciardo the room, and that allows Ocon to come back at us. So we have to defend from the Frenchman into turn one. Hopefully we can squeeze him out, and we do so, and we're going to be back up into what will be 5th place now. So look how many positions we have gained. This free pit stop is going to work out an absolute treat, because we move on to the end of that lap 14. Well, unfortunately, we don't catch up to Ricciardo. He does get away from us, but look, he comes in the pits. We've got Vettel up there on the top left into the pits as well. I would assume also in the pit lane there is going to be a Hamilton there, and we are into 1st place of the Belgian Grand Prix. This is a dream scenario right now, because we've got Bottas in 2nd place, who we know has a slower car, Magnussen in 3rd. This is very interesting now, because we've only got 7 laps left, so Guys, dare I say it, could we be on for another amazing result here? We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see as we move later on onto the next lap, lap 16. It's now Bottas. He's made a pit stop. It's now Magnussen in second and Carlos Sainz in third on Ultrasoft. So what an odd podium this would be if it ended like this, with a Renault, Haas and Toro Rosso on the podium. That would be crazy. Although, unfortunately for me, I don't think it's going to be a crazy podium like that, because we've got this man, Lewis Hamilton, on super soft tyres, closing up to, you can see there in the distance, Carlos Sainz, as they run up towards Rouge, and Hamilton's got the bit between his teeth, and obviously he's got that Mercedes car that's just been so good so far in his career mode. We know how fast it is, and he's going to close up to Carlos Sainz. So now basically it's a case for us of, hopefully, fingers crossed, Sainz and Magnussen could hold up Hamilton, but I don't think that's going to be the case, as he's got DRS open, Rich Mix, I'm assuming, down the inside of the end of the camel straight. There is Magnussen there, so Hamilton's already up into third place. He goes round the outside. Sainz, to be fair to him, does put up a fight, but there he is, up into third, and he's got Magnussen not too far down the road. So I think it was probably just too much wishful thinking that the podium was going to be that crazy, as Hamilton does close right up to the back of Magnussen, unable to make a move into the bus stop chicane, but as he goes across to the next lap, this should be a pretty easy move in the same place he made the move on Carlos Sainz on the previous lap there. You can see how much of a gap Hamilton's already got to that Toro Rosso, and there in the distance, I think, was my car as well. So I think, it would be great for us to defend from Hamilton. It's going to be a pretty tough job, but I'll try my best once he overtakes Magnussen here. Up the hill he goes. He'll have DRS, obviously, once again, Rich Mix, and it's going to be a pretty much carbon copy move, I would assume, as he goes to the right-hand side. Yes, I do think so. There we go. He actually closes DRS momentarily as he goes to the inside there, but you can see he dive down the inside as his helmet juds a little bit forward as the G-forces hit him. He's got the move done very easily, and now he's into second place. And now it's a case of him chasing us down and us trying the best job we can, and we'll see what we can do as we move later into the race. Lap 19 now this is, so we've got 4 laps left, including this one, so pretty much 3 as we come to the end of it. We are in first place still, but you can see now Hamilton rapidly closing up to us. We're in Rich Mix. Even with Rich Mix, the Mercedes car just has way too much speed. He goes side by side. We're going to go neck and neck through Blanchimont. We're going to go flat out, and still flat out he's able to hold it around the outside and down to the bus stop chicane. Hamilton squeezes us very aggressively, makes me lock up on the left front tyre. So a very aggressive move from Hamilton there, which is kind of nice to see from the AI actually, because I've seen a few of you guys maybe complaining that AI haven't been making very aggressive overtakes. There you go, Hamilton with a very aggressive overtake to kind of bully me out the way, and he's basically just said, thank you very much for my well-deserved first place. You don't deserve to be there. I do, in a Mercedes car. And so fair play. I just couldn't do anything really. Couldn't even respond to him in that sense because I locked up on the left tyre. So now we're in P2 and just trying to settle down for P2. Although as we move on to the last lap of the Grand Prix, P2 isn't even guaranteed because, as I mentioned, it was quite a long way to go on soft tyres. And by the end of this race, my soft tyres are wearing out a little bit, and we've got a bit of a train forming. It's only formed in this last lap, to be fair to me though. But right now in the dying stage of this race, then Magnussen goes for a move to left-hand side using the Ferrari engine in the back of that car to good use. He's actually got us into Blanchimont. We're actually technically already behind him now. We tuck in to get some slip trim. We have to try and outbrake him into the bus stop chicane. Here we go down the inside. This is for second place, so do or die stuff. Very, very close. Give him the space on the inside, but we do get better traction around the outside, and we'll just about finish ahead of him for second place in this race, with him getting third place. I think that was one of the Force Indias in fourth. So all round a very fantastic race for a lot of us midfield guys there, with a Renault in second, Haas in third, and a Force India in fourth place. But that is a very hard-earned and well strategically mastered second place, I feel. It could have been first, you know, if we got a bit even luckier with maybe Hamilton being a little bit down the order, it could have definitely been first place, but no use there. Had way too much pace for us right at the end of that Grand Prix with 3 laps to go. But I'll take second. I'll take second. That's a really another great podium. I can't remember what the number is now. I think that's our 4th podium of this season. Of course, we got the win at Canada. We had 1 podium at the British Grand Prix. I can't remember what the 3rd one was. I'd like to say there was a 3rd podium, and then this is our 4th one, I think. I can't quite remember, actually, but we spray the champagne anyway, and we're going to soak it in. That's a really great one. I said, you know, hopefully this race would have been like Season 1, and it definitely was, I think. In terms of the result we got, it was even better than Season 1, and we definitely had some great race action with definitely my favourite moment being that Perez overtake right up the hill on the crest. And you can see that does help us a little bit in the Drivers' Championship just to keep ahead of the 2 Red Bull cars. And you can see, although we don't overtake Red Bull, we're still keeping that gap pretty honest. So that's the thing for me, that even though we're maybe not closing up as much as I want to, at least we're keeping the pressure on and keeping it honest. You know, maybe towards the end, remember season 1, those last few races where maybe the Red Bull cars have engine penalties, we're going to want to be within a 10-point region of the Red Bull cars to maybe capitalise on myself and Nico being higher up the grid when they get engine penalties potentially. So that's just what we need to keep this pressure on, basically. But guys, if you have enjoyed that episode, smash that like button, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.